So one area where we could cut spending is corporate subsidies, and that Wall Street must share the burden with Main Street. Democratic Congressman Raúl Grijalva of Arizona says these spending cuts and higher taxes are key to getting a deal done before the looming deadline.
And if we can't get a sensible deal, he says he's willing to go over the cliff rather than make a bad deal. Here to make his case is Congressman Grijalva. He's also co-chair of the House Progressive Caucus. Sir, good to have you here.
Welcome.
Yeah,
Thank you
you're
very
really
much.
willing to go over the fiscal cliff. What is it that you would not do that you think is preferable to just go over the cliff on December 31st?
Well, I think it would be bad, and I think it would, not only politically but economically, for us to turn our back on investments. For us to accept that Social Security will be changed, that benefits will be reduced, that Medicare will be changed, benefits will be reduced, that we'll throw Medicare under the bus. Poor people, disabled people will get less and less attention regarding their health needs and their needs in life. I think those in the long term are going to hurt this economy more, are going to create the kind of society that is all haves and have-nots, and that's not what we want.
But, sir, a lot of people look at Medicare and they see that, you know what, we have billionaires and millionaires who are on CNBC all the time, and they all can use Medicare, and they all get Social Security. What about means testing? So the very poor people that you're very concerned about actually have the pie.
I think that, the issue of Social Security is a different issue. And that
okay, Medicare then.
Raising the cap based on income and Social Security would extend life. And I don't disagree with that. With regard to Medicare, that has been a guaranteed benefit based on a person's work life and based on their age. And at this point, absent any other criteria, and of which I have seen none, I think it is messing with a program that essentially needs help and needs to be restructured. We need to look for ways to make it more efficient, but to change benefits, to raise the retirement age, to raise eligibility.
So no, you wouldn't do that. Got it.
Okay, let me ask you this. I mean, you've made it clear that's a sacred area for you. Where would you give? Where is the area for compromise that would get us closer to a deal on the fiscal cliff then?
The area of compromise has always been about revenue generation, about the 2% and the tax rates at that level. We can't just talk about deductions as the way to do that. We have to look at that, and we have to look at the tax code for corporations. Okay. Those areas have to be on the table.
And then I think you're well aware, I'm sorry, sir, that there are members of the Republican Party who have said that's a sacred area for them. They don't want to raise taxes on the wealthiest in this country. They want to maintain the tax breaks that were passed during the Bush era for everybody or for nobody. So, here we are. You've identified where your sacred areas are. They've got theirs. That's what I'm asking. Where's the middle ground in all of this then?
Well, the middle ground is a fair share. And by putting the earned benefit programs on the table, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, as being the source for the deficit, and the only way to reduce that and the only way to balance this, I think is wrong when there is no significant revenue, not just gestures or token appeals about tax deductions and other areas, but a significant restructuring of that code to bring us back in line the way that we were under Clinton.
Representative, you know what, as we're talking, the market is selling off once again every time members of Congress come on. And I've got to tell you, sir, I think you're contributing to the fears that we're going off the fiscal cliff, because it doesn't sound like there's any compromise in what you're saying. Do you care that markets are selling off dramatically when it looks like you guys can't come to a deal?
Of course I do. And I also care that, we've asked the working families and middle class to carry the burden for 2 decades on this tax rates and on the revenue generation for this country. I don't think it's unfair, and it shouldn't be a scare tactic to ask corporate America and the wealthy to pitch in and help this country when this country needs the help.
What I don't understand when you say, if you don't want to change Medicare in any way, say means testing, what you mean is you want to subsidize the wealthy. The retiring generation right now is the wealthiest retiring generation in American history. You're asking young people to subsidize wealthy people who are retiring if you don't want to make key changes to Medicare. You want to help the rich, not the poor?
No, I don't think the scenario is that way. When you look at the people that are on Medicare, when you look at the people that are on Medicaid, those are people that not only earned the benefit,
I didn't say
but need the
Medicaid,
benefit.
I said Medicare.
I think
right?
the vast majority of people on Medicare are people that have earned that benefit and are entitled to that benefit. And there has been an understanding.
So no changes.
No changes, because at this point, without any revenue generation to offset the blunt of cuts, why are we talking about changes?
80 points.
All right. Sir, thank you for your time. We appreciate it very much.
Thank you very much.
There it is. That's the fiscal cliff in a nutshell.
I don't know. Like I said,
nobody will give.
Put them behind the doors, close the doors.
They're going to say the same things.
Well, I suspect they would say something different behind closed doors than they have to say publicly. They have to hold to the party line on both sides publicly to let their constituents know. I mean, he didn't say it here, but he did say in the notes to our staff that he wants to represent the people of his district. He doesn't. This is why they sent him to Washington, right? He doesn't want to sell them out in that regard. But you get politicians behind the closed doors, and they might say something different. I don't know. Where are we?